In last lecture I told you about E2 elimination, that is bimolecular elimination reaction, and next are the E1 mechanism for the dehydrohalogenation. Yesterday I told you about the dehydrohalogenation through E2 mechanism, in which two molecules and elimination is involved, whereas in this E1 mechanism it is called E1 mechanism because E means the elimination and 1 means the unimolecular, so it is the unimolecular elimination mechanism. So this mechanism proceeds through the two steps, step 1 and step 2. In step 1, there is a we are studying the dehydrohalogenation. So I was telling you about the any compound containing halogen plus hydrogen. Hydrogen is present at the beta position or second position. Alpha position is that carbon in which this heteroatom is present, so this is called alpha carbon. So this is the dehydrohalogenation. And how does it proceed? In this E1 mechanism, the first step is the slow step, and it involves the leaving of these halogen groups along with the pair of the electrons. So this leaving group leaves the substrate along with its pair of the electron in this manner, and after leaving this, the remaining substrate is converted into a carbocation. You can see here that the valency of carbon is 4, so this carbon has 4 bonds, 1 2 3 4, and this carbon also has 4 bonds, 1 2 3 4. And in this carbon, that one heteroatom is present. Heteroatom is other than the same atom, so heteroatom here is a halogen, and this halogen leaves this substrate along with this pair of electron, this bonded pair of electron, and go to the leaves the substrate, and due to this the substrate is converted into the carbocation. So I told you in initial lectures that what is carbocation. Carbocation is a cation in which carbon carries the positive charge. So here carbon is carrying the positive charge, and this step is the slow step. And in second step, what happens? In second step, that base, that is we use that the alcoholic potassium hydroxide. So this base attacks the hydrogen and abstracts the hydrogen, because base has negative charge, and due to its negative charge it attacks on the positively charged part of the molecule, and this it abstracts this hydrogen, and hydrogen comes out as a proton, and this proton combined with the hydroxyl, and the hydroxyl get converted into water, and this bonded electron pair from this carbon hydrogen bond goes to this carbon carbon bond, in which one carbon is electron deficient having positive charge, and this carbon carbon single bond is converted into the carbon carbon double bond. So this is the mechanism for the unimolecular elimination reaction. Now, why this is called E1 mechanism? This is called E1 mechanism because in this the rate of the reaction depends upon the concentration of this substrate, or we can write at the rate is equal to Rx. So basically from chemical kinetics you must remember that what is the rate on which in a multi-step reaction, on which step the rate of the reaction depends. The rate of reaction depends upon the slow step of the reaction. So here the step 1 is the slow step of the reaction, so rate of the reaction depends upon the concentration of this alkyl halide. I had written here as the general term for the alkyl halide, that is Rx. Here X is the halogen atom. It can be chlorine, bromine, iodine, or fluorine, any kind of halogen atom, any type of halogen atom. So this is called unimolecular because rate of the reaction depends upon this single type of species or molecule. Rate depends upon this alkyl halide. Rate depends upon the slow step of the reaction in case of a multi-step reaction. Whereas yesterday we studied the E2 reaction, which was bimolecular elimination reaction. In that reaction, rate depends upon the two molecules, that is base and concentration of this alkyl halide. So that was called bimolecular because rate of reaction depends upon the two molecules, that is one molecule of alkyl halide and one molecule of base, that is hydroxyl anion. So that was called bimolecular elimination reaction, and both the E1 and E2 are called elimination reaction because there is the loss of molecule, that loss of molecule of water here. Elimination is a general term, but in case of dehydrohalogenation there is the loss of water, molecule of water. So there are one is the general term and other is the specific term. General means which cover all the criterias or all the molecule. They can be water or some other molecule. But when we talk specifically, then specific means we are talking about either water or some other molecule like ammonia or some other molecule. So here specifically there is the loss of water, and in generally there is the elimination. So in general terminology we will say this is the elimination reaction, and in unimolecular elimination reaction, and in specific terms we will say the dehydrohalogenation of alkyl halide result in the loss of the molecule of water. So you can compare the E2 and E1 mechanism. So E2 mechanism was a single step mechanism, whereas E1 is the double two-step mechanism, that is step 1 and step 2. And in E2 there was a formation of transition state, whereas in E1 there is the formation of carbocation as the reaction intermediate. For E2 it was a transition state because in case of E2 there was one step mechanism that I drew yesterday, and I had told you there that that's how that product is formed from the reactant. So that was the transition state, and there are many other differences between the E1 and E2 mechanism. So when we will go further in stereochemistry chapter or some other chapter, then we will be able to understand the other differences between the E1 and E2 mechanism. Next is the orientation of E1 dehydrohalogenation. Orientation of E1 dehydrohalogenation. Orientation of E1 dehydrohalogenation. Orientation, the meaning of the word orientation here is that if there is a probability of formation of one or two or more products, then which among them will be a major product, or which product will have the more concentration as compared to other products. I had also told you that during the Satzef rule. In Satzef rule, what was Satzef rule? Satzef rule states that during the dehydrohalogenation reaction of alkyl halide, more substituted alkene is more stable and is formed in greater yield. So suppose that A is converting into two products or three products or more products, that is B and C, then which will have the more concentration and which will have the less concentration. There can be concentration of B can be more than C, or concentration of C can be more than the B, or some other equation may arise. So this is the orientation, and we will study the orientation in case of 2-bromopentane. So first of all we have to write the formula of 2-bromopentane. Pentane means there are 5 carbon, 1 2 3 4 5, and it's 2-bromopentane. So at 2 position there is bromine. So rest of the valencies we have to fill with the hydrogen. So it's 3 hydrogens are here, 1 hydrogen is here, it's, and this is 2-bromopentane. And when it is attacked by the base, that is hydroxyl anion, it result in the formation of two products. The one product is pent2-ene and other product is pent1-ene. This is pent2-ene, this is pent2-ene, and this is pent1-ene. So this is pent2-ene and this is pent1-ene. So pent2-ene is formed in more concentration, that is it is formed at 71% and it is formed as 29%. 71% means out of 100 gram the pent 2-ene is formed at 71 gram, whereas remaining 29 grams is pent 1-ene. So this is the major product and formed during the dehydrohalogenation of 2-bromopentane. So this product is formed in accordance with the Satzef rule. So in case of tertiary pentyl bromide, that is tertiary pentyl bromide in the presence of hydroxyl base, there are two products. One is 2-methyl-but-2-ene and other is 2-methyl-but-2-ene and 2-methyl. This is 2-methyl-but-2-ene and this is 2-methyl-but-1-ene. This is called 2-methyl-but-1-ene because at 2 position there is methyl. But means there are 4 carbon in key chain, 1 2 3 4, and 1-ene means this there is the double bond at first carbon. This is 2-methyl-but-2-ene because at second position there is methyl group, and but-2-ene, but means there are 4 carbon, 1 2 3 4, and further 2-ene means there is the double bond at second carbon. So this is you can go to the IUPAC nomenclature, and I suppose that you have read the IUPAC nomenclature during your lower classes. So this was tertiary pentyl bromide. So the ratio of the products here is the 2-methyl product is 82%, this product is 82%, and this product is just about 18%. So concentration of this product is very low. So here the more substituted product is formed and more substituted product is this. So you can write a detailed structure of it as this carbon contains 2 methyl groups, further this double bond result, and this one hydrogen is attached to this carbon, and this methyl group is also attached to this carbon. Whereas in case of this 2-methyl-but-1-ene or 18% product, you can see that at double bond there are 2 hydrogens and 1 methyl group, and this CH2 CH3. So you can see here that this is the more substituted product which is formed as 82%, and this is less substituted product and formed this its concentration is only 18%. So how will you see the substitution? You can see the substitution or substituted product by seeing that how much methyl, ethyl or propyl alkyl groups are present on the doubly bonded carbon. So here this methyl group, this methyl group 2, and this 3. There are 3 methyl or alkyl groups are present on the doubly bonded carbon, whereas in case of this product at doubly bonded carbon only this methyl group and this ethyl group or this carbon is directly attached to the doubly bonded carbon, and rest 2 are hydrogen. Here is only 1 hydrogen. So you will see that you have to see that how many alkyl groups are directly attached to the doubly bonded carbon. So this is the doubly bonded carbon, these 2 carbons are doubly bonded. So here there are 3 groups, 1 2 and 3. So and here only 1 and 2 groups are present. So its concentration is only 18% and its concentration is 82%. So this is explained by Satzef rule also. So let me write here also in detail that these are the doubly bonded carbon for this 71% concentration, and there is one hydrogen, this hydrogen, and this is the alkyl group. And here also this is this hydrogen, and further this is methyl group. And in case of it, there is, this is doubly bonded carbon, two hydrogens are present, and here one hydrogen, this hydrogen, and this is the alkyl group, side alkyl group, CH2, CH2 and CH3. I am writing here due to less space, so kindly try to understand it. So this is the, now you will see here that there are two alkyl groups, this alkyl group and this alkyl group. So there are two alkyl groups attached to the doubly bonded carbons. Here in case of this this product which is less in concentration, there is only one alkyl group is attached directly to this doubly bonded carbon, and so its concentration is 29% only, whereas its concentration is 71%. So this is means by the what is the meaning of word substitution. So substituted product. So this is more substituted product in case of this reaction where tertiary pentyl bromide reacts with the alcoholic potassium hydroxide, it results in the formation of two products. So in this in that case, if you have been asked that which product will have higher concentration, so you just have to see the substitution, that which product is more substituted. To understand the substitution, you just write this kind of detailed structure, and after writing the detailed structure you can count the number of alkyl groups attached to the doubly bonded carbons. Here there are three alkyl groups attached to the doubly bonded carbons, whereas here only one alkyl group is attached to it, is 18% and it is 82%. And whereas in this case there was doubly bonded carbon possessing two alkyl side groups attached directly to this group. And so let me tell you one thing clearly, that there is further this alkyl group, but this alkyl group is not directly attached to the doubly bonded carbon. Here these alkyl groups, the CH2, CH3 are not directly attached to a doubly bonded carbon. Only this carbon is attached to the doubly bonded carbon, and here this carbon, this alkyl group carbon and this alkyl carbon is attached directly to the doubly bonded carbon. Here is also same situation. These alkyl groups containing carbon are directly attached to a doubly bonded carbon. So there are such a groups, 1, 2 and 3, and here only two groups are attached. Although this alkyl group possesses two carbons, one carbon, second carbon. Here also this is one carbon, two carbon and third carbon. Here is first carbon and second carbon. But these carbons are this carbon, alkyl carbon, or these CH2 or CH3 groups, or this alkyl group is not directly attached to the doubly bonded carbon. Only this carbon and this carbon is directly attached to the doubly bonded carbon. So we will count substitution for these carbons who are directly attached to the doubly bonded carbon. So this is the Satzef rule. So this is the better explanation for the Satzef rule, if you will try to understand. And this is also the definition of the Satzef rule. So what does Satzef rule says? Let me repeat once again. That rule states that during the dehydrohalogenation reaction of alkyl halides, Satzef rule is applicable only to the alkyl halides. Alkyl halides are those hydrocarbon possessing alkyl group plus halogen group. So this rule states that during the dehydrohalogenation reaction of alkyl halide, more substituted alkane is more stable and is formed in the greater yield. So this is the more substituted alkane in this case, and in this case this is more substituted alkane. So if you are getting confused here writing such a structure, you have to write the detailed structure like this, and you can understand from here that why these products, this product and these products are called more substituted alkenes as compared to their side products. So side products are these. And further, I have told you the mechanism of this even reaction also. And further, if you want to write the mechanism of, suppose we want to write the mechanism of this reaction. So first of all, you have to write the alkyl halide, that is CH3 CH2 C. This is CH2, but I will write here as like that. So if you want to understand, you also write in such a manner that hydrogen and bromine plus 3 hydrogens are there. So basically it is CH3 CH2 CH2 CHBr and CH3. So if you want to understand the dehydrogenation of this compound through even mechanism, so you have to write this type of structure. And now you will see that in first step, which is a slow step, the halogen will leave the substrate. It means this halogen will leave the substrate along with this bonded pair of electron, which result in the electron deficiency on this carbon, which is a alpha carbon. So CH3 CH2, 2 hydrogens are there. Further, now this carbon was alpha carbon containing this halogen or heteroatom, so it got electron deficient. Because why? Because halogen left the substrate along with the bonded pair of electron. So bonded pair of electron is present on bromine as the negative charge. So this is the electron deficient carbon. So now basically this is a carbocation, because this is a cation containing the positive charge on the carbon. Now what are the probability for forming the products? Let me show you. Now further, when base will attack this carbocation in E1 mechanism, so base has many options, because base just want to abstract a proton to get itself converted into water, as OH negative plus proton will make the water. Okay, so hydroxyl anion will have many options to remove the proton. It can remove proton from these side carbons, or from this carbon, or from this carbon, or from this carbon. So it will remove proton from the, it can remove the proton from the 2 carbons. So if it will remove the proton from this carbon, so there will be such a reaction that this bonded pair of electron will go to the this manner. Or if it removes the carbon from hydrogen from this carbon, or proton from this carbon, then the bonded pair of electron will come to this carbon, as it can come from here, it can come from here, or it can come from here, or it can come from the here. So if this proton or this proton is removed, the product will be and if this proton is removed, then product will be like so. There will be the probability of formation of 2 products, and 2 products are formed. So now we will say the which product is the more substituted, and the more substituted product will be formed as per Satzef rule. So more substituted product will be formed as the Satzef rule. And further, there is the rearrangement of carbocation is also possible. The rearrangement of carbocation means this hydrogen will go to this carbon because this is an electron deficient carbon, and electron deficiency will be shifted to this carbon, or this hydrogen can also move to the this carbon, which result in the rearrangement of carbocation, and electron deficiency will go to the this carbon. So these electron carbocation rearrangement also explains the Satzef product, that why Satzef product is the major product in case of dehydrohalogenation of alkenes. So if you want to see the carbocation rearrangement, then let's go through this reaction. This is neopentyl chloride. This is neopentyl chloride, and it's going in E1 elimination. And you know well that E1 elimination means the formation of the carbocation when leaving group leaves the substrate. So this carbocation is formed. Further, this carbocation undergo rearrangement by shifting of the alkyl group to this electron deficient carbon, and this rearrangement results in the formation of, because this is the primary carbocation, and after rearrangement there is the formation of tertiary carbocation. This is primary, and I had told you earlier in the initial lectures that out of primary, secondary and tertiary carbocation is most stable as compared to secondary, and then as compared to primary carbocation. So tertiary carbocation is very much stable. Tertiary carbocation is that carbocation which is attached to the three carbons, other carbons. So this carbocation or carbon carrying the positive charge is attached to the three other carbons, first, second and third carbon. So now products are formed, two products are formed, and these products are formed by the attack of the base in a similar manner as I told you in our last reaction. So if hydrogen is removed from this carbon, then the product is and if hydrogen is removed from this carbon, the product is so this product is more in concentration as compared to as per the Satzef rule. So this product is formed by the rearrangement of carbocation. Now you can compare E1 and E2 mechanism. So that's the revision work for you to compare the E1 and E2 mechanisms.